Okay, let's jump right into this explainer of The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. We're going to decode a seriously fascinating concept straight from the text, the idea that your own mind is the ultimate creator of your reality. So if you've ever had a gut feeling that your thoughts hold real power, you're absolutely going to love how this source material breaks the whole thing down.
Just imagine for a second that every single thought you have acts like a giant invisible magnet. The text suggests that your mind is literally pulling corresponding people, events, and circumstances directly into your life. In essence, it argues that you are the most powerful magnet in the universe, and you're constantly emitting a magnetic force through everything you think. Crazy, right? The source material defines this magnetic power as the law of attraction, and it presents it not just as, a nice philosophical idea, but as an absolute law of the universe. The core principle here is that like attracts like. It basically works like this. If you're thinking about wealth, you'll attract wealth. But if you're constantly obsessing over debt, well, the text argues you'll simply attract more debt. Everything that comes into your life is drawn to you by the images and thoughts you're holding in your head.
To make sense of this, think of yourself as a human transmission tower. It's just like a television tower that broadcasts a specific frequency, which then turns into the pictures on your screen. Your thoughts transmit a frequency that literally creates the pictures of your life. So the logic is incredibly simple here. If you don't like the pictures of your life, you just have to change the channel by changing your thoughts.
But there's a huge catch here that the text calls the don't want epidemic. You see, the universe is incredibly literal. It doesn't actually compute negative words like don't, not, or no. So when you focus intensely on something and say, I really don't want a bad haircut, the universe is actually hearing, I want bad haircuts. Whenever you focus on what you're trying to avoid, you are, according to the book, actually summoning more of it right into existence.
So the absolutely crucial point is knowing how to monitor all this. How do you know what frequency you're transmitting when we have tens of thousands of thoughts every single day? Well, the text explains that your feelings act as an instant feedback loop from the universe. They tell you exactly what frequency you're on. If you feel good, you're on a frequency drawing in good things. If you feel bad, it's a giant warning signal. Because as the text points out, it's literally impossible to feel bad and have good thoughts at the exact same time.
Which brings us to a super practical tool. If you catch yourself spiraling, maybe you just stubbed your toe or got stuck in horrible traffic, the book recommends using what it calls secret shifters. These are quick, deliberate mental pivots designed to instantly snap your frequency back to a positive state. It could be taking a minute to think of a beloved pet, blasting your favorite song, or just visualizing a really beautiful memory. Just a minute or two of shifting your focus can alter your entire frequency. Now, let's move on to how we can actively use this to create our reality. The source uses this classic, kind of playful metaphor of Aladdin and the genie. Think of the universe as a genie that's always listening. It never questions your commands. Whatever you think, speak, or act upon, the genie assumes as what you truly desire, and it just responds with, "Your wish is my command." To actually harness this universal genie, the text outlines a concrete three-step creative process. Step 1 is to ask, Step 2 is to believe, and Step 3 is to receive. So let's walk through exactly how to use these to transform your invisible thoughts into physical reality.
Okay, step 1 is to ask. And this requires getting crystal clear about what you actually want. It's kind of like placing an order from a catalog. You don't need to do it over and over again. You just need to be really specific. The source shares this remarkable story of a young man who tested this out by visualizing a very specific, uniquely marked feather. Just 2 days later, he looked down at the entrance of a high-rise building in New York City, and boom, there was that exact uniquely marked feather sitting right at his feet. Clarity really is power. Then we have step 2, which is to believe. This means you have to have unwavering faith and act as if you already have the thing you asked for. The text explains that the very moment you ask, you have to trust it's already yours in the unseen, and your job is to align your life with that truth. If you start to doubt it, well, you're transmitting a frequency of not having it. So what does believing actually look like in practice? The text highlights this with a story of a woman who desperately wanted a perfect partner, but her physical actions were completely contradicting her desire. Her garage was totally full, her closet was packed, and she slept smack in the middle of her bed. She wasn't acting as if he was coming. So what did she do? She cleared out half her garage, emptied half her closet, and started sleeping on her side of the bed, literally making physical space for him to arrive. And sure enough, shortly after taking those actions, her perfect partner appeared.
Finally, we get to step 3, which is to receive. This simply means you need to feel the exact way you will feel once your desire is manifested. Why? Because feeling good right now locks you onto that receiving frequency. When you feel the joy of having something before it even arrives, you essentially become a magnet for it.
Now, to speed up this entire 3-step process, the text introduces what it calls massive accelerators, and the most profound one of them all? Gratitude. The book argues it's literally impossible to bring more into your life if you're feeling ungrateful about what you currently have, because ungratefulness is a deeply negative frequency.
To make gratitude a daily habit, the source shares a really moving anecdote from a man named Lee Brower, who kept a simple rock in his pocket. Every single time he touched it, he forced himself to think of something he was grateful for. He later shared this practice with a father in South Africa whose son was dying from a rare disease. This father actually sold these gratitude rocks for charity, maintaining an incredible attitude of gratitude the whole time. And miraculously, months later, his son fully recovered. It really goes to show how profoundly a simple, focused practice can shift your reality.
Another amazing accelerator mentioned is expectation and visualization. This is perfectly demonstrated in the text by a 10-year-old boy named Colin. On his first day at Disney World, his family faced horrible long lines. So that night, Colin enthusiastically visualized going on all the big rides the next day without waiting at all. The very next morning, right at the gates of Epcot, a staff member mysteriously chose Colin's family to be the VIP first family of the day. This granted them walk-on passes for every single big ride. Colin expected it, he visualized it, and the universe delivered. Now you might be sitting there playfully worrying, okay, but what if I accidentally think about something terrible? Well, fortunately, the text points out that there is a time delay in manifestation, and this delay is actually a tremendous gift. It acts as a protective buffer, allowing you to reassess your thoughts and preventing your fleeting negative fears from instantly becoming reality. It essentially gives you the time to course correct and choose a better thought.
Nearing the end here, the book poses a profound question originally asked by Albert Einstein. Is this a friendly universe? By asking this, you're forced to make a fundamental choice. The text encourages you to actively decide right now that the universe is friendly, that it is magnificent, and that it is always conspiring in your favor. When you expect a friendly universe, the law of attraction dictates that you must experience one.
So the absolutely crucial point to take away from this explainer is that you are the author of your life. Based on everything the source material outlines about the magnetic power of your mind, I really want you to look around at your current reality. Everything you see is a result of your past thoughts. So ask yourself, are the results in your life what you really want? And more importantly, knowing that your thoughts become things, what frequency are you broadcasting to the universe right now?